Look, I rented for 10 years, 10 years of fixed monthly payments, 10 years of calling the landlord when something broke, 10 years of thinking this is simple, this is manageable, this is fine. And then one day I sat down and looked at the numbers, how much my rent has increased over the 10 years and how much the property prices in my area had increased over the same period. See, when I started renting, the properties in my area felt expensive, out of reach, something for later when I had more money saved. So I kept renting, month after month, year after year, and while I was renting, the prices kept going. Every year a little more, and my rent kept going with them. Every renewal a little higher, until the fixed cost that felt so manageable 10 years later becomes something different. So I bought. And here is what nobody told me about buying your own home. When something breaks, you pay. When you want to modernize something, you pay. The security is real, the freedom from a landlord is real. But the idea that buying automatically builds wealth, this is more complicated than anyone admits. Today, I want to give you the honest answer. Not the one that tells you on buying, not the one that tells you renting is throwing money away, the real one. Welcome to Nobody Told Mike. I am Mike, an ex-director at one of the big 4 firms. In fact, I work for all of them. This channel exists for one reason, the financial conversation nobody had with us growing up. Everything in this video is for educational purpose only. I am not a financial advisor. Nothing here is financial advice. Property markets vary significantly by country, city, and personal circumstances. Always speak to a qualified professional before making any property or financial decision. Now, let us talk about one of the most debated questions in personal finance. So, let me tell you what those 10 years of actual renting look like. When I started renting, it felt like the smart choice. Simple, clean, no unexpected cost. If the boiler broke, not my problem. If the roof needed fixing, not my problem. I paid my rent, lived my life, and kept the rest flexible. And in the beginning, the numbers made sense. The rent was manageable. The properties around me felt overpriced. And I thought, I will wait, I will save, the market will correct. Do you understand what I mean? I was waiting for the right moment, and the right moment never came. Because the market did not correct, it kept going up, and my rent kept going up with it. So, after 10 years, I made the decision to buy the place I was living in. To stop paying someone else's mortgage and start paying my own. And look, I am glad I did that. The security of owning the place you lived in is real. Nobody can raise your rent. Nobody can ask you to leave. That peace of mind has genuine value. But here is what surprised me the most. The moment I became an owner, every repair became my cost. Every improvement became my investment. Every unexpected problem became my responsibility. Buying your own home removes one cost, but it replaces with others. This is the honest reality nobody talks about clearly enough. Okay, so let us start with the most common thing people say about renting. Renting is throwing money away. You have heard this, probably from a parent, a colleague, or someone at a dinner party who owns property and cannot understand why you do not. Look, I understand where this comes from. When you rent, at the end of 30 years, you have no asset. The landlord has the asset. You have just receipts. But here is what the argument misses completely. When you pay rent, you are not only paying for the roof over your head, you are paying for the flexibility, for the ability to move cities without selling a property, for the freedom for maintenance cost, for the options to invest the difference between renting and buying costs into something that might grow faster than the property in your areas. Now see, the Nobel Prize winning economist Robert Shiller, and I talked about him in my videos, who studied housing markets for decades, found something that challenges the conventional wisdom completely. Over the very long term, adjusted for inflation, residential properties in most markets does not dramatically outperform other asset classes. And he did not mention which other asset classes, but here we can look at ETFs or index funds and so on. The emotional belief that property always goes up is not consistently supported by the data when you adjust for cost, maintenance, taxes, and inflation. Do you understand what I mean? The idea that buying is always financially superior to renting is a cultural belief, not a mathematical assurance. It depends entirely on your specific market, your specific circumstances, and critically, what I do with the money I save and not spend for the mortgage. Now, here is where most renting versus buying comparison go wrong. They compare the monthly mortgage payment to the monthly rent, and they say, look, the mortgage is simply the rent, so you might as well buy and build equity. That calculation is missing most of the real cost. See, when I bought my own home, I discovered something quickly. The mortgage is just the beginning. There is the deposit, typical 10 to 20% of the purchase price. That is capital that is locked in the property and cannot be invested elsewhere. There are the purchase costs, notary fees, land transfer tax, agent fees. In Germany alone, those can add 10 to 50% on top of the purchase price. In the UK, it is the stamp duty. In Italy, it is the registration tax. In Canada, it is the land transfer tax. Every market has its own version, and none of them builds equity. It is gone the moment you sign. And then there is maintenance. On average, financial planners suggest budgeting 1 to 2% of the property value every year for maintenance and repairs. So on a 400,000 euro property, this is 4,000 to 8,000 euro per year for things like boiler, like the roof, the window, the bathroom, all the things that when you were renting were simply not your problem. And then there is the opportunity cost, the deposit and purchase cost that you pay up front. If you had invested that money in the global index fund instead, what would it be worth now? This is the question most buyers never ask. The philosopher and economist John Stuart Mill, one of the most influential thinkers of the 19th century, he wrote about the importance of calculating the full cost of any decision, not just the visible immediate cost, but every consequence that follows from it. The mortgage payment is the visible cost, the maintenance, the opportunity cost, the purchase fee, the locked up capital, those are the effect costs. And when you add them all up, the picture looks very different from the simple comparison that most people make. Now look, I'm not saying do not buy. I bought, I'm glad I bought, but I want to give you the honest framework for when it actually makes sense. Buying makes sense when you are planning to stay in the same place for at least 7 to 10 years. The purchase cost alone in most markets take 5 to 7 years of price appreciation just to break even. If you might move in 3 years, the numbers almost never work. Buying makes sense when the mortgage payment, including all the costs, is comparable to or lower than the equivalent rent in your area. In some cities, this is true. In others, like London, like Munich, like Amsterdam or Sydney, the mortgage on an equivalent property is dramatically higher than the rent. In those markets, renting and investing the difference can outperform buying. Buying makes sense when you have a stable job, a stable income that can absorb unexpected costs. See, the thing about renting is that your costs are predictable. The problem about owning is that they are not. The boiler does not care whether you had a difficult month. Renting makes sense when you need flexibility, career mobility, the ability to follow opportunity without the anchor of a property to sell. And I will give you another example. The psychologist Barry Schwartz, who wrote The Paradox of Choice, found that the best financial and life decisions are the ones that preserve the most future options. Buying a property closes options. Renting keeps them open. Renting makes sense when the property market in your city is extremely overevaluated compared to the rents. And there is a measure called the price to rent ratio. How many years of rent it will take to equal the purchase price. In a balanced market, this is typically 15 to 20 years. In overheated market, it can be 30, 40 or even 50 years. When that number is very high, renting and investing is often the superior financial decision. And renting makes sense when you do not have the deposit, the purchase cost, and the maintenance buffer saved. Going into a property ownership with no financial cushion is one of the fastest ways to turn a good decision into a financial crisis. Okay, so here is the most important calculation in this entire debate, and almost nobody does it. If you rent instead of buy and you take the difference between what a mortgage would cost you and what your rent costs you, and you invest the difference every single month into a low-cost global index fund, what happened? Let us say renting costs you €1,200 a month. The equivalent mortgage, including all the costs, will be €1,800 a month. This is a €600 a month difference. €600 a month invested over 30 years at 8% average return. This is approximately $900,000. Do you understand what I mean? The renter who invested the difference does not end up poor at the end of 30 years. They end up with almost €1 million in a diversified portfolio, and they never had the boiler break on them at the worst possible moment. This does not mean renting is always better. It means the renting versus buying decision is not as simple as renting is throwing money away. It is a calculation, and the results of this calculation depends entirely on your specific market, your specific cost, and whether you are actually investing the difference. Most people who rent do not invest the difference, they just spend it. And this is where the renter loses to the buyer over the long term. The discipline to invest the difference is the variable that makes or breaks the renting argument. Look, let me come back to those 10 years of renting. If I could go back in time and give myself one piece of advice during those 10 years, it would not be buy sooner, it would be invest more of what you are saving by renting. See, I was renting because I thought the market was too expensive. And I was partially right. But while I waited for the market to correct, which never did, I was not doing enough with the financial flexibility that renting gave me. The lower monthly cost, the absence of maintenance cost, all of that are valuable, but only if you use the advantage it gives you. See, the philosopher Seneca, the Stoic thinker who wrote extensively about how we use our time and resources, said something that I think applies perfectly here. He said, it is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste most of it. The opportunity is always there. The question is whether we use it or not. Renting gives you financial flexibility. Buying gives you security and forced saving through equity. Neither is wrong. Both have real cost. Both have real benefit. The mistake is not choosing one or the other. The mistake is choosing one without understanding what you are giving up and without a plan for what to do with what you kept. Two things before you go. The free portfolio tracker at NobodyToldMike.com. Go and calculate what investing, the difference between renting and buying, will generate over your timeline. Put in your own numbers. See what the discipline of investing the difference actually produces. That number will change how you think about this decision. Link is in the description. And the second, join us on Discord at NobodyToldMike.com. This week's question is already live in the community. And before we go, one question for the comments. Are you renting or buying right now? And do you feel like you made the right decision? I read every comment. I reply to everyone. See you in the next video.